oversubscribed. Have you seen how much?
If we get into, there could be other no reason. So do you have a good right to
buy Mexican food, we buy everything.
So for us, we deal with an outslope. So if we're building on a hill.
They're older, it doesn't matter where they are.
self-esteem and your
life skills that they get.
I mean, it's just as important as the Exactly.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Community Initiatives in Affected Areas Public Information Session for the Valemount. I'll introduce myself. My name is Wayne Robinson. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer for the village. Just before we get into the presentations, I'd like to open the mic to our Mayor, Mayor Torgerson, for any opening remarks he might have.
Thanks, sir. So on behalf of Council, I wish to thank the Columbia Basin Trust for the program developed for our community initiatives in our affected areas. I'd also like to welcome, as she is joining us today, our Community Relationships North, Mrs. Linda LaFleur. Give a wave. I want to thank the members of our adjudication committee. You put a lot of time and effort for the betterment of our community. So when called, please just give a wave. Let the folks know who and where you are. First, Chair Eugene Jamin. Alan Duncan. Bob Gray, which I believe is up in Chetwynd area on an exercise. Meg Pratt Johnson. Beth Russell. Karen Thomas. And joining them from the village, Councillor Sherry G. with staff support from Krista Eddy. I want to thank you all for being here. Public input for these applications is extremely important as they weigh heavily on the scoring matrix and the overall process. Thank you to the applicants. A lot of passion and hard work goes into these. Grant writing is no easy task at all. First coming up with the projects and then looking at the finances and then actually doing the application and then coming up here. You've got your work cut out for you. Program is well oversubscribed this year. Looking forward to hearing every presentation, and I wish the best of luck to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Torgerson. And I would just like to also introduce the Toastmasters. I would like to thank them because they've actually volunteered to do the timing for this presentations. So I'm just going to introduce the two Toastmaster members that we have here to speak, which are Mary Farquharson and Yolanda Schiller. Sorry? Sorry, it's Loretta Simpson, not Yolanda Schiller. Okay. Do you have anything to say?
Hi, I'd just like to put a little plug in for our Toastmasters Club. When I first joined Toastmasters, I never looked at the audience. I looked somewhere up there. Never looked at the person that I was speaking to, and I have to credit Toastmasters with changing that. And we are having a demonstration meeting on St. Patrick's Day, Gift of the Gab, St. Patrick's Day, Tuesday, March 17th at the Best Western Hotel. We're in the meeting room in the center of the building, just beside the elevators. I would just encourage everyone to come out 7 o'clock, see what Toastmasters is all about. And, I want to speak about the lights. So at Toastmasters, a lot of it is about timing with the idea that it's respectful to your audience if you keep on track of what you're going to say. And so we use the lights of a green, that everything is good, yellow or orange that maybe you're going a little long, and red is, come on, wrap it up here. Other people want to talk. So that's what we're doing with the lights, and hope you all come out or some of you come out and join us for our demonstration meeting on March 17th.
Thank you very much. Now I'll just tell you a little bit about the program and what we're all here for today. So the Community Initiatives and Affected Areas program is a CBT, or a Columbia Basin Trust funding program, where the funds are distributed from the trust to your local government to address local priorities. The Village of Valemount sets the criteria, deadlines, and a public process to use when reviewing the project applications. After today's session, the CBT Community Initiatives and Affected Area Program Adjudication Committee will review all of the applications and then make recommendations to the Village Council. Council will then review these recommendations and make their final decision. Already the committee here has been introduced, so I'll just carry on just a little bit more about this year's programs. So this year there was a total of $531,558 to distribute. That's a significant amount of money available. The committee received 17 applications with a total dollar value of $722,898.47. So there's actually more applications out there than there is funding available. Just so you know, one proponent did not make it here today. That is the Kootenay Rideshare request. And just to let you know that because they did not appear, the process states that they don't continue on. So there's no need to vote for that. So we're here today to provide the community with the chance to learn about the applications and to give the applicants the opportunity to address questions or concerns that may have arisen during the initial review of their applications. So just how it's going to work out here. So public voting forms are available at the front door for anyone who would like to vote on the project. I'm pretty sure that everybody here has a form, and if you don't, now is your opportunity to run out and grab one at the front door. You must live in Valemount or in the CBT region of the Regional District of Fraser Forts George, Area 8, to be able to vote on the projects. On the voting form, you will be assigned you will assign each applicant a score between 0 and 5, 0 being you don't support the application, and 5 being that you strongly support the application. I have this here bolded, so I think this is probably pretty important. Please ensure that you assign a score to all applications. Any incomplete forms will not be counted. So you actually have to score everything except for the first one, of course. Complete voting forms can be returned only after all presentations are completed. So what you do is you take them back to where you got the forms from, just put them face down in the basket there, and you're ready to go. So now for the presenters, here's what you need to know. Each applicant has a maximum of 3 minutes to present their project. Not a lot of time. Toastmasters, they will be timing the presentations. Once the time limit is reached, you will hear this sound. The bell. What, with the sound? Yeah, the bell. The bell and a red light, of course. And at that time, you must stop your presentation. After an applicant has made their presentation, the committee has prepared questions that will be read aloud, and applicants will have 2 minutes to answer each question. After that, the floor will be open to the public to ask their questions. Public questions and answers will be limited to 2 minutes, please. If you would like to ask questions, please stand up, either at one of the microphones that's available on either aisle, or I can also bring you the remote mic. Once half the applications have been presented, we will take a short intermission. Just so you know, the concession is open thanks to the Valemount Secondary School leadership students. They have a variety of lunch items and refreshments that are available for purchase. So let's begin. Projects will be presented in a predetermined but randomly selected order. So right off the beginning, the very first application that we have is through the Valemount Community Bus Society, and this is for a bus purchase. Oh. Sorry?
So we should do, this will be up to 2 minutes?
Okay.
This will be 2 minutes to 3 and then 3.
Okay, so we've just determined that for the 3 minutes that you have to present, for the first 2 minutes, you'll be in the green light. For the last minute, you'll be into the yellow light. And once you hit the red light, you have to stop speaking because that's 3 minutes. And a bell. Okay.
You guys ready? Are you sure? I got 6 minutes because the other guys left, right? Remember? Okay. Good afternoon, and thank you for coming. I'm Dan Lawless, and I'm here to represent the Valemount Community Bus Society. Our proposal is we are asking for $60,000 for a new community bus. That's that way, right? There we go. So very quickly, the history and the mandate of the society is we were formed in 2009 when we purchased the current 2007 Starcraft shuttle bus. Sorry. Currently, the society operates as a registered nonprofit society, and our mandate is to provide safe, affordable shuttle bus access to community members. Currently, the bus over the past 11 years has been used by a wide variety of people and groups within the community. I'll give you a minute. This is probably the most important slide of the bunch. As you can tell, it's widely used, and there's also a good number of individuals as well who have used the bus. I'm just going to pause there and let you take that one in. So why do we want to buy a new bus? Well, the current one is currently 13 years old, and it's beginning to show its age. More frequent maintenance is required than in the past. Just recently, 2 weeks ago, we were on a trip to Prince George, and one of the brake lines corroded, and we had to get it taken in immediately to get fixed. So the bus is getting a little bit older. We would also like to sell the existing bus while we believe it still has some significant value in it. Very quickly, the financing. We're looking at these two buses here. It's about $89,000. We're looking for $60,000 here, and we will come up with the rest of the 30. What are we looking at? We're looking at something like this, a 24-passenger shuttle bus. These are just a couple examples of what we're currently looking at. And then very quickly, because I see a yellow light, the community bus provides a unique and valuable service to community members. Over the past 11 years, we've proven our ability to provide service to the community in a fiscally responsible manner. Currently, the 21-passenger bus is the only reasonable option available for many groups in the Valley wanting access to safe, comfortable, and affordable group transportation. How's that for timing?
Thank you for your presentation. That was right on time. So here's our very first question, the question from the committee. What are your plans to bring more awareness to the community about this resource?
So it's a good question. The question is, how do more people understand that the bus is out there? Currently, if you looked at that one slide that I paused on, it's used by quite a wide variety of groups already in the community. Probably the biggest criticism is, of course, that we would like it to be used by even more. So probably the very simplest thing to do is to advertise it, quite frankly. We don't advertise it. We never have. It's basically run off the side of Jolene Bison's desk for the most part. So we could stick it on the TV, we could stick it in the newspaper, but it's available to all community members. Any other questions? So there's one here and then there's one over here.
for your amount.
I just talk about, how much do you charge to rent it out?
How much do you charge to rent it out?
So the idea is to keep it as affordable as we can. So we basically charge that's kind of a question for Jolene. We charge mileage, largely, is what we do. And I think it's currently 60 cents a kilometer. You have to provide your own driver, of course, kind of deal. And whether or not that driver is a volunteer most of the drivers are largely volunteers. You need a Class 4 in order to drive and a clean driving license. So we don't make money off of this. This is not a venture capital ordeal at all. Okay. So we do try and keep it as affordable as possible. I think there's a question over here.
You already answered it.
Thank you. Yep.
Is the new bus going to be accessible to people who are in wheelchairs or handicapped?
As soon as you add that element to the bus, the cost of the purchase goes up substantially. So currently, no. So you're adding another $20,000 to the purchase of a vehicle, plus maintenance. And maintenance on those lifts is it's tricky. It's expensive.
If we were to find you additional funding to make that happen, would you consider it?
We would consider it, certainly. One of the issues is as soon as you put in a lift, you also start to lose number of seats. And so we're trying to keep it down to a 24-passenger bus, therefore your licensing is your Class 4. So there's pros and cons to that, obviously. But it would be something we would consider, I would imagine. Yep. If you can find the money for us. I'll talk to anybody who can find us money. Any other questions? Come on, I got 3 more minutes.
Sorry, we really need you to use the microphone.
The question is who pays for the insurance, is that correct? Okay, so the question is who pays for the insurance? The society pays for the insurance. So we're responsible for insurance and maintenance of the vehicle. We don't get paid, we're all nonprofit. Jolene does by far the lion's share of the work.
Thanks, Jolene.
Thanks, Jolene.
I'm just curious, what year are you looking at then? You know, obviously that's not new that you're anywhere close to.
What we're currently, that's actually a 2018s. 2018s and 2019s is what we're currently looking at. We're looking at brand new buses. They're brand new, sitting on the lot, so their label is new and they're still warrantied.
So you are looking for a new one?
It's technically a new bus, yes. Yeah. So the 2 models that you're looking at, they're actually both 2019s.
Any more questions?
I can repeat it.
How far in advance do you need to book something like this? And yeah, we'll just start with that question.
Some people book it 6 months in advance and others book it 24 hours in advance. It's just a question of, is it available at that moment, kind of deal. So largely what people will do in order to book the bus is they'll phone Jolene, usually at the school, and they say, we have a group that would like to do this, that, and the other thing, and is the bus available? So, yeah.
Do you have a list of drivers that would be available if a group wanted to do something?
I'm looking at Jolene, and she's nodding her head. She's going, yes. We do have so the question was, do you have a list of drivers who are available to drive? Yes, we do.
In case we wanted to make a trip somewhere.
Yep, because a lot of groups don't have, pardon me?
Then who has that? Oh, and that information's with the bus then, right?
Jolene can tell you who's available to help. Yeah, there are a number of people. The light is yellow. Quick, come on, folks. Okay, thanks very much. Appreciate your interest.
Wow. Okay, just before the next group comes up, just a reminder to everybody, we really do require you to use a microphone, and the reason being is that this is being televised, so we want to ensure that the listeners at home are able to hear your questions so that they can, know what the answer is relating to. Thank you. So next up, we have the Valemount Curling Club, and this is the Valemount Curling Club plant replacement.
You're all good. Good afternoon, everybody. Is that working? I'm sure you can all hear me. I'm Rod Saul. I'm up here with the Piper girls, Samantha and Diane, who I'm sure everybody has met at one point. So we're here today talking about the replacement for the plant at the curling club, which is done. So here's the one as it exists today. It's 60 years old and no longer functions. So it was donated many years ago, and its time has passed. So here's the facts. 2017, the Regional District of Fraser-Fort George was nice enough to conduct a feasibility study, which it was decided at that time the taxpayers weren't willing to fund the replacement. But the vote was very close, and that's why we're up here today. We're not ready to give up, and we hope you aren't as well. So, and the replacement of the plant will allow us to offer curling again to the community, and it's a sport that allows many kids and adults. So, where are we going?
One more.
There we go. So curling can be done by anyone. It's no matter your age, no matter your gender, and fun, interactive, and social. Still green, eh? Physical and mental health. The one at the bottom is the one I'm most concerned about, because I've been failing miserably the last couple of years at gaining that, so. So we're going to get to the crux of it. So we're currently asking assistance through this grant. So I'll just, we've asked for a significant amount of the funding that's available. Since the time of our request, we've received a new quote. So if you want to take out your pens and scribble out the 227 and write in 159. So that's a significant decrease to what we're asking for. And if we were to get all of that, that would be great. If we were to get a little bit of that, that would allow us to pursue other opportunities. When you get a little bit of seed money, that allows you to move forward with other organizations that can allow funding as well. So there we are. Questions? And that's why you two are here.
Why are you putting me? Okay.
Thank you very much. So our first question comes from the committee. How do you plan to generate interest in curling when taxpayers of Valemount and area did not support the referendum vote a few years ago?
Okay, so that question is kind of a misconception, I'm going to say. The issue that we run into with the regional district feasibility study is that the area H, so outer parts of the community, were the ones that really did not support us. And the reason being is that they have to drive to be able to use that facility. So if you looked at the numbers, it was about 50-50. A lot of the comments that we seen was that why Why were we not paying for it in the tax base of the village of Valemount and not regional district? So that's where the conflict really came from. We did have a ton of curlers. It was used by both schools. The junior program had over 30 kids in it. The nice thing about curling, the mental health portion, if you did get to read it, it's a winter sport. It's cheap. You don't have to have a lot of money to be able to do this sport. There's brooms there. Anybody can really do it, no matter what your capability is. So the issue for us is without that plant, we cannot run. So the plant is toast. It is, like Rod said, 60 years old. It cannot have replacement parts. All curling clubs all over Canada, not just, we've been speaking with Manitoba, we've been speaking Alberta. It's not just us with the same issue. Chillers are breaking, they're not easily replaced. So the best thing that we could come up with is to go with a full replacement. Like they said, we did ask for $225,000 originally. That was from Simcoe. Simcoe is like the biggest group of curling plants. We've gone to Fraser Valley Refrigeration.
And you're done now.
$159,000 plus taxes, please.
Any questions from the public?
Hi.
Hi.
One question is, you have the arena next door.
Yes.
How come they cannot be combined? And how much would that cost rather than going for a new plant?
Okay. Regional district, again, in that 2017 feasibility study, we did 4 different ideas. One was the connection. Unfortunately, they are in the process of having to rebuild and put in a bigger plant just for their own facility. So that is the bottom line issue. Second is, we're a total volunteer base. They are a tax base. So as soon as you start trying to combine, that's why they were trying to take us over and put us into the tax base, because you can't have a municipal government type thing with a nonprofit organization, unfortunately. So that was the issue, is that without the support of the taxpayers and being able to go that way, we can't really connect, if that makes sense to anyone. So their plant essentially is not big enough for us to connect at the moment.
So we talked about using the facility as a winter sport facility.
Yes.
Is there a possibility of having something happen in that building during the summertime? This sounds a little off, but maybe bowling, like the alleys are there, using it for something else rather than just letting it sit dormant. If it does, I'm not sure. But if that's the case, is there some feasibility there?
Okay.
We've actually met with 2 groups. We've met and they've taken a bunch of measurements, and we're hoping to make that a 12-month-a-year facility. So they'll be able to kind of portably move in for the winter months, actually 12 months. Summer, but there is a possibility they could use that for other activities, share it with us. So there is a possibility, and hopefully they move forward with that, but it could be a 12-month-a-year facility. So I was hoping some of them would be here today, actually, but they're not. So.
Any other questions?
Would there be a full-time maintenance job open up there? And if so, where would that funding come from?
You want me to answer that?
Give her.
So currently, we run the whole curling club as a nonprofit. So what people don't understand about that curling club, we install the ice, we do all the maintenance for everything, we create all the funding within then. We do currently have groups in there. The youth group contains the whole basement. We did have the learning center renting it throughout the months for courses, things like that. So yes, if you approach us and you need that space, we've done trade shows, weddings. With your question, we don't necessarily need, because the plants aren't huge, we don't have to have an employee at this time. If it became where, the community is booming, it is a possibility, because you are running on volunteers and volunteers do get burnt out. So as you generate income, but the size of the plant, we don't have to have an employee, if that answers the question. Okay.
Just to clarify, McBride has a...
Oh, sorry, yeah.
McBride is using the same building and plant with their two facilities for the arena and for the curling club. And they have regional district employees for the arena, but the curling club is volunteers. Why can't we have the same thing here? And if our arena is rebuilding their plant or getting a new plant, why couldn't we combine things too and use the same plant?
Okay, so this goes back to that feasibility study again, unfortunately.
Sorry, I don't hear you.
That goes back to the feasibility study again, unfortunately. So Regional District in McBride owns both facilities. The curling club there rents it for $7,500 a month or a year. Okay? The problem is the taxpayers in our regional area did not support taking the curling club on. That is the bottom line. So until that happens, yes, we would love to pay $7,500 a year and have all our insurance paid and everything paid for where we do all the work. That would be our ideal situation. Unfortunately, it was turned down by the community and our area. So now we're asking the community to support us in getting a new plant so that we can at least offer that to our community. That is... And there's no cost to you guys other than giving us this money to be able to replace that plant. No taxpayer money, bottom line.
Okay, so how much taxpayers' money do you think you were going to generate for it in the first place?
We do pay taxes.
Yes, I do.
No, I said we do. Yeah. So we're a nonprofit. We own the building. We don't have any...
How much money were you going to generate from taxing everybody to go to it, to get it functioning?
When Regional District was taking it over, is that what you mean? It was a Regional District vote. Does that make... So Area H, like if you... So the Village of Valemount is our area. Then we have Regional District H, which is the surroundings. So Cedarside, Dunster, all the way to McBride. So that was the question to a lot of people is why are we asking for funding from all that outer area and it's not a Valemount tax base, if that answers your question. Okay.
Okay, that's about all the time we have for questions. Thank you very much. All right, so next up, we have the Canoe Valley Community Association, and this is for their finishing touches for childcare licensing.
Wow, an amazing. Thank you all for coming out. As you know, the CBCA has been going for our childcare licensing for about the last 4 years now, and it's been an ongoing phased-in project. And last year when we got our grants for our sidewalks outside and everything else, we thought, okay, we're done now. We can open up, we can have subsidized after-school closure programming. Unfortunately, we're short $2,700, so we're here asking the community for $2,700. We got a new sidewalk, and it was completed in November of last year. But sadly, we weren't smart enough to look up and see there wasn't any eaves troughs. So the runoff of the roof for the hall is coming down, and it's destroying the sidewalk below. And had we realized that was going to be an issue, we would have included the cost for the eaves troughs in with the sidewalks, but we didn't. So we need to have that changed because the sidewalks ice up all year. So we're asking for a grant for eaves troughs and a snow shovel. And because of the school licensing, we have it's a Grafton area, and we have to keep it mowed really low and weed eated because there's an issue with policies and procedures for sharps in the ground, and so we have to maintain it. And we looked into having a community service do it, but what we would pay in 4 months to have them come and mow it and weed eat, we'd get a grant and do the lawnmower because we simply can't afford to pay that kind of money when the board is willing to do in-kind services for it. So we're asking for a lawnmower, a weed eater, a rake, a snow shovel, a wheelbarrow, because we threw that in the last because we realized if we have a lawnmower, we don't have anywhere to put the grass clippings. So we need and we need, of course, a jerry can. So we're asking for $2,700 so we could have our school closure subsidized licensing programs for the community, which the village has identified itself that it desperately needs. So that's where we're at. Any questions?
Okay, thank you very much. So the first question from the committee, actually, I think that you covered it, but I'll ask it again, so it's a real test to see if your answer's the same.
Okay, I think I can do it.
Has your association considered alternative options for yard maintenance?
Yes, we did. And it's about $40 an hour. And it would take about 3 hours to mow and weed eat, and that would be on a weekly basis. So it would be $120 pretty much per week that we would be paying someone to come in. So you can see how the costs would add up quite quickly for us, and we simply can't afford to do that all the time. But we would love to have someone donate the time and come in to do it for us. We would just be so thankful.
Any questions from the public?
Thanks very much. There's, in lieu of using fossil fuels for yard maintenance, there's a plethora of electric examples out there. Has your group considered something like that?
Yes, we did. We looked at electric, we looked at battery operated, and because of the configuration of the backyard and everything, and where our plug-in is at the very front of the building, so we would have to have like 400 feet of extension cords to take us around to do the back. But the weed eater is battery operated. We did that, but with the gas, we just simply couldn't. The battery wouldn't last long enough to do the lawns and everything else. So we would prefer it, but we don't want to buy 500 feet of extension cords so we can mow the lawn. Thank you.
Any further questions? One more time.
Could we just turn the volume up on the podium? It's just a little difficult for us to hear back here. Is that
Certainly.
Thanks.
Can you hear now? Can you hear me now?
For sure.
Okay, so other than that suggestion, it's a good suggestion, thank you very much. I think that's it, so we'll move on to the next presentation.
Thank you so much.
So with the sound, I think part of the issue is you need to be right in front of this microphone. So our next applicant here is the Valemount Entertainment Society for new digital TV channel and programs.
No, I don't have a presentation. Thank you. Be very brief, and can you hear me, Kat? That's okay? All right, I'll try to talk loud. So we're continuing our program with the Valemount Entertainment Society to convert from analog to digital. Last 2 years, we've done channels 13 and 11 and added 5 programs to each. This year, we'd like to do channel 9 and add 4 or 5 programs. We're required to do this. They're phasing out analog, so by April of 2021, there will be no more analog, so we need to do it, but we'd like to get a jump on it and get it done as quickly as possible. So we're asking for $30,000. The total project will be $41,200, and the society's purchased a digital transmitter already for $9,000, and we'll be hiring a local contractor to come and do some antenna work and remove some of the old antennas. So we're asking for $30,000 for engineering of the project, which is required, an application to the federal government, and for the equipment that's required to do it as well. And that's it. Sorry, I have no pictures. There's nothing very exciting to show there.
Okay, so here's the question from the committee. Can you explain why the upgrade is necessary for the television signals to go from analog to digital? But here's the thing, in layman terms.
In layman terms, the government requires it. Now, as I said, we have to have it done by April of 2021. So our plan is to do Channel 9 this year, and then we're free to do one more channel, Channel 7, and by the end we'll hope to have 18 to 20 digital channels on the air. So.
See a question over here.
When you say Channel 9 and Channel 7, what are those channels offering? Is it a sports channel, or I can watch hockey all day, or?
Well, we did the Society did a survey 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, in which we asked people to select their preferred programming. So we have a list from that survey that we used for channels 13 and 11, and we're going to use that for channel 9 and 7 as well. Keep in mind some of the programs that I know people would really want, like TSN, charges $1,800 a month. To that. It would bankrupt us as a society. So we can't offer all the channels that everybody would want. So we're trying to get a broad enough selection. The board's vision is that people are paying, between $50 and $100 a month for basic satellite, whereas you're already paying for this in your taxes. If we can get 20 or 18 good channels, perhaps you'll use the service that's already provided. It's a very high quality service. If you haven't seen it, someone said, but I can't give up my HD. I'm telling you, it looks very close to HD when you compare them side by side. So that's our goal.
Any further questions? One more time, any further questions?
Will people need any new equipment on their TV to pick up digital channels?
No, if you already have it, if you're already receiving channel 11 and 13, no. If you have an older model set, like one of the square model sets, you'll either have to purchase a analog to digital converter, or you'll have to get a new set. And at this point, we really recommend you getting a new set. They're quite inexpensive now. So.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So our next applicant is Valemount Junior Canadian Rangers Adult Committee Society, and this is for the Junior Canadian Rangers equipment.
All right. Can everybody hear me? I'm Jennifer Scheller. I'm one of the adult committees of Junior Canadian Rangers. This is Aubrey, my son, and Shannon. They're both Junior Rangers. The Junior Canadian Rangers is a free program for youth between the ages of 12 and 18. We meet on Wednesdays for 2 hours, either at the Valemount Legion or at the Valemount Saddle and Wagon Club. We teach the kids life skills, traditional skills, and ranger skills. We try to take the Junior Rangers on at least 2 camping exercises per year. We are wanting to purchase 6 lightweight tents and 6 backpacks for an upcoming backpacking canoe trip to Myrtle Lake and possibly Mount Fitzwilliam. We would like 2 folding tables for our outdoor activities, 6 bows, 36 arrows, 6 targets, and 6 target stands for our archery practice, and a projector for our classroom teaching. We teach PHASE, which is promoting healthy and safe experiences in the classroom. PHASE is developed by Department of National Defense in partnership with the Red Cross. PHASE gives youth the tools they need to help peers and themselves learn about and deal with complex issues that they face in today's society, like, for example, gender identity, child abuse, or substance abuse. Not all the kids own their own gear, so it'd be nice to offer that gear to those that are in need so they can participate as well. The JCRs do their own fundraising, and they also collect firewood and kindling, rake leaves, shoveling snow, picking up garbage, and volunteering at community events. The volunteering shows through positive attitudes of youth. Through every volunteer activity we do, they learn the benefit to the community. When we collect garbage along the highway every year, firewood with partnership with the RCMP, they develop good relationships with the RCMP. Sometimes we receive donations for these activities, but it's not an expectation. And the adult committee volunteers many hours every week as well. And so we are asking for $9,616 for all the equipment. That's everything.
Thank you very much. So our first question from the committee is, how are JRCs, or the Junior Canadian Rangers, taking what they're learning and putting it back into their community?
Well, that's basically they're learning the benefits of the community. Like when they cook the garbage, they're giving back to the community. When they do the firewood, they partnership with the RSMP. So yeah.
Questions from the public? One more time, questions from the public?
Okay, thank you.
You got it easy, here we go. Okay, on to our next application. This is from the Valemount Learning Society for the Grocer Growing Container.
Good afternoon. My name is Riette Kenkel, and I'm the Executive Director for the Valemount Learning Society. As per our mandate, we have always been committed to addressing areas of community and regional concern, which includes many different types of services. Food security is defined by the United Nations as when all people at all times have access to sufficient, safe, nutritious food to maintain a healthy and active lifestyle. Last year, we identified food security as an area of community and regional concern. To address this concern, we've spent over a year in discussions with a company called The Grocer to see how we can grow fresh greens locally year-round. Everyone we've spoken with has been supportive and enthusiastic, and we have received many letters of support from businesses who would like to purchase locally grown greens, as well as the Valemount Industrial Park, which is where we hope to set up our container. The total cost of the project... Why is my thing not going forward? Oh, good Lord. I'm so sorry. This was supposed to keep up with me. The total cost of the project is $237,110, and we are asking for $50,000 from Columbia Basin Trust. The following video explains more about the Grocer and some of the organizations and communities that have benefited from the program.
You know, I grew up on a farm eating fresh vegetables, and it really reminds me of that time when you could get something that was grown, it was picked that day, you're eating it fresh, and it doesn't compare to stuff that's a few weeks old.
So Abbey Gardens is a community trust, and we own 380 acres in Haliburton County, and the big dream here is to green a gravel pit. So to take land that we think of as used up and create community space.
Most of the produce that's coming out of the grocery goes directly right into our meal hall, so right from the back door directly in. We try to use it a lot for catering, as well as we're donating a percentage of it, or whatever we grow, to the food cupboard here on campus for students that have insecurities with food.
What we're hoping the long-term impact will be is definitely a financial one for us, and then connected with our mission, being able to showcase how you can grow food year-round and have it be viable.
Food security is an issue around the world, and so this kind of a project, which is designed and built for remote and rural and cold environments, allows communities and campuses to grow food year-round in areas where otherwise they might not be able to.
Being in Yellowknife with extreme climates, we thought it was impossible to grow produce 365 days a year, but with this unit, that's made it possible.
So we hope we can become one of those map dots, and with your support, we will be successful. Thank you.
So our first question here from the committee is, if the objectives of your application is safe food for this area, why was your collaboration with safe certified local growers not evident in your application?
Thank you. So are we trying to move ahead without considering local growers? Absolutely not. Does this project require collaboration? Not necessarily. We do have a strong understanding of the current situation in our community when it comes to fresh greens. Valemount has a successful farmers market every year, and our community wants access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Besides the farmers market, which only runs a few months of the year, we have IGA, and the quality of their greens is unfortunately not very consistent, and even their supplier agrees with that. As we move forward with this plan, we will communicate with local growers to ensure that we're filling gaps and not flooding the market. We look forward to working alongside other growers to ensure local needs are met through communication, respect, and understanding, and that's not necessarily the same as collaboration. We have no intention of undermining what our local growers are doing. The objective of our application is to help with food security in the area, based on anecdotal evidence, like talking to community members and business owners, gathering information on social media, like our survey, having one of our board members on the Farmers Market Board, and simply living in the area and understanding the growing season. We know that there isn't a fresh supply of greens year-round. With the grocer, we found a way to address this need while also creating an opportunity for learning and employment, as well as potential sustainability for our organization. And it feels like a perfect win-win. We plan to supply grocery stores and restaurants, and if there's an opportunity for us to supply customers directly due to a need not currently being met, we will be happy to do so as long as it's supportive to everybody.
Okay, we'll open the floor to questions from the public. Any questions?
Interesting project. So what was the total value of the project?
237,000.
So that's interesting. That kind of sets you a little bit apart from some other applications here. Where's the rest of the money coming from?
I have had a very good conversation with Northern Development Initiative Trust, and they have encouraged us to apply for funding up to 70% of the total cost. And the Learning Society is going to be contributing 20,000, so here we're asking for 50,000. And I apologize that the slideshow, I hit the back button instead of the forward button. It was perfectly timed, I promise you.
I saw another question over here.
Where are the proceeds going to go to when you sell this stuff?
So the proceeds would go back into the Learning Society. So we're a nonprofit organization. It would go towards either expanding on programming, so whether it's community programming or literacy programming, ESL, employment supports, or possibly expanding on the actual grocer. The containers are modular, so you can add other containers to them. So we may be able to expand on additional growing opportunities.
With the size of this single container project, I understand being 237,000. What's the the production volume of that initial investment?
One container has enough growing spaces for 1,800 plants. Plus it also has space for between 1,200 and 1,600 seedlings. So we would start the seeds and then grow that to seedlings and then plant the seedlings into the spaces for the plants. And then there would just be a regular turnover so that we would have fresh produce weekly.
So would this facilitate 1 or 2 new jobs in Valemount, and what kind of background?
So there's really no experience necessary. It's a turnkey operation. The staff from the grower or the grocer actually would come to Valemount when they deliver the unit, and they would provide our staff with 2 days of training. It's very automated, and as far as a job, it would be probably a part-time job, about 15 to 20 hours a week. That could grow if we got into delivery services and that sort of thing.
I believe this last council meeting, RVCS just did a presentation to them on food security. Are you working with RVCS on this project?
No, we're not. We were recently at the community food security meeting that was hosted by Robson Valley Community Services, and there was a lot of great information sharing at that meeting. We have been working on this project for over a year now, so yeah, it's something that we're very passionate about. There's a question up here.
Sorry, I don't have my phone. It's hydroponically grown. Is it therefore considered organic, or is there any pesticides?
That's a great question. Yes, it is hydroponically grown. Technically, it cannot be considered organic because it's not grown in the soil. So hydroponics, it has a nutrient-rich water that runs through to grow the plants, and then there's grow lights above. There are no pesticides and no herbicides used at all because we're inside the container. There are no pests, nor are there any weeds.
So if you're selling the produce, how is it helping people with food insecurities?
So currently the produce that's available at our local grocery store is often not fresh. When you go in, you're spending your money to buy a head of lettuce that is often really not even consumable after about a day or two, because by the time the produce gets here, it's already quite old. So that is one way that it can help. It will stretch your dollar when you purchase a fresh head of lettuce at the grocery store. For any of you that shop at the local farmers market, you know when you buy a head of lettuce that was just grown and just picked that day or the day before, it lasts for several weeks in your fridge. So that's one way that it would address it. Also, any overages that we have, we will be working with the local food bank. We are aware of some food programs at the various churches, Meals on Wheels, anyone that requires the donation of any of our excess, that would be donated as well.
So we got 2 more questions, one right here and one over.
So to tie in with the food bank, why would you not just allocate some of your growth to the food bank to start with as food sustainability?
At this time, we're actually not aware specifically of how much the food bank would require, and there may be some things that they need to put in place in order to receive fresh produce. So we need to look at it as a business model. So first and foremost, we need to make sure that it's sustainable. And you know, for some of you, it's an ugly word. Yes, we do have to spend money, and we have to actually make some money in order for it to be sustainable. So we do have to sell the produce.
My only other question, you keep talking, is it only leaf type plants like carrots, anything like that can be grown?
So no root vegetables. At this time, we would just be looking at leafy greens. The grocer is doing a lot of testing right now for tomatoes, peppers, strawberries, some new plants, but they do have a longer growing span. So we're more interested in the shorter growing span, so the leafy greens are ideal for that. Also, just on a side note, in the summer months, when the farmers market is happening, our intention would be that would be the time that we would be doing things like maintenance and maybe testing out some different crops. We absolutely do not want to compete with any of the local growers, and that's something where we intend to have an open communication with the local growers to make sure that we're not overstepping our place and just filling the gaps that exist.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all the time we have for questions.
Okay, please one more. Just one more. Sorry.
Fine with me.
Yeah. So, as an idea of going towards food literacy, seeing that RVCS is stepping forward with that, is there room for collaboration to expand to the idea of the community gardens that are behind the high school here? Or I'm sorry, I missed at the beginning of your presentation. You said where it's going to be located is out in the.
So it will be at the industrial park. Yep. Yeah, and there's absolutely, we are always open to collaborating with other organizations and individuals. I've spoken with a community member as well that may have an idea about a heat source as well. So we're wide open to open conversations and
the grants around this idea as a community kind of thing?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. I know the community tried to do a community garden before, and it ran into a few obstacles. So hopefully we can get a community garden going again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we have two more presentations before the intermission. So this next one is the Royal Canadian Legion Valemount branch, number 266, and they're applying for facility upgrades.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and committee members. My name is Peter Addis. I am second vice president of the branch 266 here in Valemount. Today we are asking for funding to replace the condenser in the cooler, as well as the heavy metal doors at the door's entrance. The Legion was built in 1964, and since then the doors have been replaced once, and that was when we did the expansion on the building. They are very old, very heavy metal doors, and for anybody that's got mobility problems, especially in wheelchairs or walkers, they're heavy to handle. What we would like to do is replace them with new electric doors with an open button to make it easier for veterans and older members of the community to gain access. A great example of this is not too long ago, we had one of the oldest members of the community, plus she's a World War II veteran, receive something from the Legion, and she needed help getting into the Legion. And we believe with electronic doors, all she needed to do was press the button, and she's free to come and go as she wants, and she's not a burden on anybody else. The new doors would have windows in them, and it would bring some natural light and make the building more welcoming and a lot more convenient for everybody. Nobody knows, and on the condenser, nobody knows how old the condenser is. It could be as old as the building itself. We hope not, but nobody knows. Over the past few years, it has malfunctioned on more than one occasion. It either severely ices up or goes into automatic defrost. The condenser is the cooler. In the cooler is one of the most important things in the Legion. We provide low-priced dinners on Friday nights as well as breakfast on Sundays. Monies raised by the Legion through our kitchen sales and functions will help give back to the community. The new condenser is an important part of the operation. We hope that you will consider our request so that we can continue to provide for the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our first question, which is from the committee, is what will you do about the remaining non-automated doors inside the Legion?
Okay, the door that they're talking about is when you come in the main door, there's a door off to the left that goes into the Legion. That door can either be held open by a strap that we've got fixed on there and it will not shut, or if there's a private function, we can close that door and secure it so it will not bang open. It is also a very light wood, so it's not heavy at all, not like the metal bomb shelter doors that are out front.
Any questions from the public? One more time, any questions from the public? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have the Valemount Public Library Association, and they're looking for library computer upgrades.
Hello? Everybody hear me okay? Hi, my name is Daryl Pollock. I'm the chairperson of the Valemount Public Library. The library is applying for funding of $9,000 to upgrade 7 computers at the library, 4 public use computers and 3 staff computers. So this is what the library is all about. We're encouraging a spirit of learning and discovery. We offer many different services at the library. One thing that's not mentioned up there is something that I think is really exciting is we're starting to develop a collection of non-traditional items. We have snowshoes that you can loan out in the wintertime, and in the summertime we have some summertime games such as croquet and badminton sets available as well. So who uses our computers? Pretty much anybody can come in and use our computers. We have youth, adults, visitors, temporary workers come in and use the computers. Business owners even come in and use our computers at times. How do people use our computers? Basically do everything on them that you could imagine. Although they didn't all, I'm sure, come in to use our computer, we actually had 50 new members that we issued library cards to this year. So every year, the libraries branch of the provincial government designates a typical week, and the librarians in the library count all the users who come into the library and what they do in the library. When we take those numbers from our typical week and extrapolate them, we see that those computers, the public use computers, were used over 1,600 times last year. For those of you who haven't been into the library, I encourage everyone to come over and see it. It's a wonderful building and wonderful people inside of it, of course. This is what our public access computer stations look like. There's 4 of them kind of lined up across one wall in the library. So why do we need new computers? So why do we need new computers? We need them because the old ones are old and tired. Chatting with one of the, someone from the community outside today, her comment on them was that they were ridiculously slow. So the project will entail, So the project will upgrade the 4 public use computers and 3 staff computers. The total project cost will be a little bit over $10,000. We're requesting funding of $9,000, and then the library will contribute a little bit over $1,000, basically to cover the software costs as well as the cost of the installation of the new computers. And there's a picture of our beautiful library.
Thank you very much. So our first question from the committee is, the regional district funds the operational expenses. Why are these computers, especially the 3 administrative computers, not being funded by the regional district?
So as the question says, the Regional District of Fraser-Fort George provides about 75% of the total funding that the library receives, which covers the basic operating expenses. Almost all of the other funding that we receive is targeted towards specific programs or expenses. Any special projects that the library undertakes, such as the recent installation of a chairlift to make the lower level accessible to all users, are covered by specific grant fundings that we apply for. There used to be provincial technology grants available to libraries for this type of computer upgrade, but that program was canceled. The library's basic operating expenses, as covered by the regional district, are currently facing budgeting challenges as we deal with a much larger than normal increase in wage expenses due to ongoing increases in BC's minimum wage. The library will consider itself fortunate if we receive the increase in funding from the regional district for which we have already applied to cover the cost increase of those wages. Since the library serves the whole community who have free access to library services and computers, we feel the computer upgrade project fits the Community Initiatives program very well and hope that the community and the committee will agree with us.
Any questions from the public? One more time, any questions from the public? Okay, so that's that. Thank you. Okay, so we're at the point now for an intermission. There's an amazing turnout today, so as a result, I imagine if anyone has to go to the washroom, there's going to be lineups. So let's give you 10 minutes. So we can have everybody back by 2:55 as per my phone. That would be wonderful. Right now it's 2:45. Thank you. 10 minutes. Okay, so I think we're ready to go here. So our first application after the intermission is Valemount Minor Hockey, and this is for hockey equipment, minor hockey equipment and training.
Sorry, I'm really short. Okay, so we're here with the Valemount Minor Hockey Association. This is Glenn, our president, and I'm Keisha, the vice president. We're here to ask for some monies to put towards furthering our kids' experiences with minor hockey. As you can see on this slide, we need a divider for the ice. Hockey Canada has changed the regulations, and without this divider, our smaller guys, the tykes and the novice, can't host tournaments and technically can't even play because they need to have the divider to separate it into half ice. We have gotten a donation from both the old timers and the old puckers to go towards this for a total of $10,000. Next slide. We also would like to get 2 sets of the mini nets for the tykes and the novice players. As you can see, there's quite a size difference in the nets, and the little guys don't quite fit in the big one. So it's really hard to teach them goalie positioning when they can't even fit in the net. At the same time, we would also like to get a set of goalie pads and equipment for this age group. That way the kids who might be interested in being a goalie can try it out for a couple practices without the parents having to go out and purchase the equipment and then have it just sit there. There's also a few courses that we would like to offer, both for the kids and the adults who are involved. For the kids, we want to bring back the power skating clinic that we offered last year. The changes in the kids' skating was almost immediate. The little guys who could barely stand were able to skate around. The older kids were taught how to move their bodies in a more efficient way so that they can skate faster. And it was great for the coaches because they're able to continue these lessons on throughout the season, and it just continues to benefit the kids. We also want to bring in a coaches clinic. Each team needs 2 certified coaches. There's 6 teams. Going into next year, we only have 2 certified coaches, and it costs us more to send everybody out to do the course than to bring it here. Same with the refs clinic. We're also going to bring in one of those. And yep, I think that's it. Are there any questions?
Okay, so our first question from the committee, which is actually very similar to what you were just talking about. And that is asking if you could break down the cost for power skating, referee, and coach clinics versus the cost of sending everyone outside of town?
So I have a breakdown of the cost for everybody. Basically, to send somebody away to do the coach course, it's going to cost us $942 to send them away. It costs just under $2,000 to bring the instructor in, who can then certify up to 15 people. So as soon as we send 2 people out of town to do the course, it becomes more cost effective just to bring in the instructor. And it's about the same price for the refs clinic, within about $20. Power skating, it's really hard to offer a comparison with that. We can't just send our kids to go and do the 2-day power skating clinic with another association. That's not really how it works. To get the kids into a power skating clinic, each family has to register for a summer camp. They're 5 days long. You have 2 days of travel, one on either side, and you're looking at over $3,000 per family to just send one kid to a hockey camp, and that's not really that affordable for a lot of people, versus when we bring the power skating clinic here. Last year, we charged $20 per child.
I'll open the floor to questions from the public. Second request, questions from the public?
How many kids overall are in the hockey program in the community?
This year was 42.
42 kids?
42, yeah. Which, considering the enrollment numbers for the high school and the elementary school, is pretty good. Yeah.
We also have McBride team up with us for some tournaments and stuff like that to give their kids the opportunity. Sorry. I was just saying that sometimes we team up with McBride as well, and because they don't have even as many children as us in the program, they come and they play tournaments with us whenever we can accommodate that.
Any other questions from the public? Thank you very much. Our next presentation comes from the Robson Valley Spay and Neuter Society, and they're applying for Spay Neuter Vaccinate Project.
I have my first question already. Someone asked if she's spayed. Yes, she is. Good afternoon. I'm Susan Prue, and I'm with the Robson Valley Spay Neuter Society, and this is Manu, my support animal. Our mandate is to support responsible pet ownership by providing education and financial assistance to control cat and dog populations in the Robson Valley. Some background. RVSN was formed in 2013 to address the feral and stray cat populations. Through fundraising and matching grants from BC SPCA, we helped bring under control 3 feral cat colonies. The next step was to address the source of strays and ferals, owned cats. We applied for funds to assist owners with the cost of spaying, neutering their cats, and extended our outreach to owned dogs as well, with the purpose of removing financial barriers that were preventing owners from having their pets fixed. Fundraising. RVSNS has participated in many fundraising efforts to generate funds and, more importantly, to raise awareness, well, maybe not more importantly, but very important, to raise awareness of the need to spay and neuter their pets. Donations and grants. There has been great community support with donations of food supplies and cash donations. We have received grant funding in the past from RDFFG and CBT initiatives programs. Why spay and neuter? Healthy pets make for healthy communities. Altered pets mean less roaming, fighting, and injuries. There's less strays and abandoned animals. And there are too many unwanted animals in shelters. This is a list of the average costs of spaying and neutering. It's fairly expensive. The local vet does offer a discount for us. We have financial details of our expenses from last year. Total revenue was $9,246. Our expenses at $9,771. Progress so far, since our inception, 459 cats and dogs have been spayed or neutered. In 2019, there was 37 animals done in the Robson Valley, including 28 in Valemount. This has made a significant impact on the health of the animal population in the valley, but there is still work to be done. Our projected numbers for animals to be done in Valemount in 2020 are 15 owned cats with the owners paying half, 7 strays, 6 owned dogs, hopefully with owners paying half, to total 28 animals. Great, thank you so much for your consideration of our project.
Thank you very much. So the first question coming from the committee is, what is being done towards locals taking responsibility towards their own animals?
Just trying to escape. Yes, thanks very much. First of all, 2 things. Education, and this is largely through our presence on social media. A number of people follow us on our Facebook page, and through our fundraising efforts, and we also have posters up around town. And secondly, through financial assistance. We often have people who really want to have their animals taken care of to get them fixed, but are unable to financially. And we do ask for half, and people are very, very willing to contribute whatever they can if they are not able to.
Any questions from the public? One more time, any questions? Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much.
So our next applicant is the Valemount Pines Golf and Country Club, and they're applying for a golf course enhancements and equipment revitalization project.
Nothing fancy here, buddy. Well, I hope you can all hear me well enough here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank the board for this opportunity to assist our community's societies. My name is Dennis Martins. I'm a 30-year resident of Valemount. Pardon me? Certainly. Is that better? Okay, we'll try that. Okay, my name is Dennis Martins. I'm a 30-year resident of Valemount and a member of the board of directors, a 20-year golf member, club captain, and a 1-season employee. Pardon me. Ongoing upgrades are common to any not-for-profit society. The cost, as many as you know, can be quite high, and raising capital more and more difficult. After completing 25 years of operation in 2019, the course is requiring some TLC, and some equipment has become very unreliable. With Valemount Pines being the only golf course within 120 kilometers to the east, 200 kilometers to the south, and 300 kilometers to the northwest, we are committed to serving the local community and surrounding area. The benefits to the community. The course helps our real estate values and makes Valemount an attractive location for retirees looking for affordable small town living with some of the city's amenities and a golf course that isn't a long commute or a two-day wait to golf. We have it here, 2 kilometers from town. Many local businesses have their annual staff meetings at the Pines, CN Rail, Best Western, Lakes District Maintenance, Valemount Fire Department, to name a few. This provides an opportunity for those who don't golf and understanding, and promotes rewards in a team atmosphere. Many charitable golf tournaments such as Yellowhead Helicopters, CIBC, and Dave Graham have raised thousands of dollars for charity. Tourists from out of town, province, or country have made their way to the Valemount Pines. Reunions and weddings are also held at the golf course. The economic spin-off from these and many other tournaments throughout the season is substantial, filling hotel rooms, restaurants, and many other local shopping facilities. All this brings returns to the company chamber and lasting memories for all. Health benefits, helps control diabetes, improve cardio, physio, and respiratory conditions. For those restricted by age or mobility, power carts are a vital need. What you may not know, each year many volunteers come out and visit to assist with spring cleanup, removing trees, branches, and other debris from fairway, and raking, sweeping pine needles and other debris from greens. In 2019, removal of tree stumps and low-hanging branches continued. This has been ongoing for over 7 years, all by volunteers. 8 sand bunkers have been renewed. In 2020, our tee box markers, benches, and some fairway markers will be renewed for a fresher look. Some of our tee boxes will also be leveled off. We feel these improvements, along with our valley's world-class view, quality fairways, and requested equipment, will bring increased golfer satisfaction and secure many more years of future operation with fun for community members of all ages. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I am nervous, by the way.
So we actually have 2 questions from the committee. So your first question is, are the renovations meeting the, sorry, wrong one. Do you have any golfer user stats that are related to local use?
Yes, we have 130 lifetime members in 2019. We had 49 annual members and a minimum, this is just off the top of our heads, over 150 people, or 15% of the local population, based on a population of 1,000.
Okay. Second question is, what happens to the CBT investments if the property was to sell?
The asset remains with the golf course, provided the new ownership chooses to operate the course. If not, it would go back to the village of Valemount. And I can set an example of that back to the Kinnicknick Park Society, John Osachuk Ball Diamond Development, where we gained grants for equipment, maintenance equipment, of cannon sprinklers, lawnmowers, and the likes of those types of things. The village to this day is still using that equipment on our Centennial Park, Sports Day Park, and other facilities as they deem necessary. So it is still an asset to the community. It will remain an asset to the community as long as the golf course runs, and it remains an asset to the community if it doesn't.
Okay, questions from the public? Any questions out there?
Do you guys offer programs for youth and kids?
Can you say that again, please?
You guys offer programs for kids and youth?
Yeah, we have had junior programs for many, many years in the past. Unfortunately, last year was my first year as club captain, and I may have dropped the ball a bit. I was gone for a chunk of the year. I'll take a little bit of the heat for that. This year, the same people, we're looking towards the same people, or if not, some other people that can assist us. We're going to try and offer a free junior golf program throughout the summer months this year.
Any other questions? I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next applicant is the Valemount Senior Citizens Housing Society, and this is the Room 1 upgrade at Golden Years Lodge. And just a note for the people up in the AV area, if you could just mute the sound for this presentation, please.
Mute me as well, please. I don't know what to do with it.
That means forward.
Do I just put it on?
Yep.
I'll speak first.
It's up, ready to go.
I'll have everybody confused. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the second year I've stood up here and said, could I please have some money from CBT to do an upgrade at the seniors? Last year I said, in 1977, when the place was built, Elvis Presley died. This year I'm going to tell you that the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline was opened for the first time. A BMW cost $7,999, and the average income was $15,000 a year. And that was the year that the seniors was built. So these rooms really have gone downhill. Not downhill, they've been maintained and painted. It's just that they could all do with an upgrade. We started last year with room 4, and eventually a picture will come up and show you. I hope. We started in the bathroom, and the bathroom, we took the bath out and we put in a shower, a sit-down shower. And that was for safety apart from anything else, because there's nothing worse than somebody who's old and infirm trying to step into a bath, into a shower. And then we did the kitchen. We put in new cupboards, and it all looks absolutely beautiful. And I think it's much appreciated by the new tenant. We also discovered the costs from last year, because this was always going to be a prototype for all 13 rooms eventually. So this is room number 2. It's going to take us a while to get round to room number 13. The kitchen, we put in new cupboards. We put in new switches, new taps. We put in the cupboards at the right height, which is slightly shorter than normal. What else did we do? We put in new plumbing in the bathroom, and a great deal of new plumbing. So all in all, the money was well spent, but we do need help. The seniors in our community are kind of for all our responsibility, just as the children are. So please, CBT, we need $19,834.50. Thank you.
So we have 2 questions from the committee. First question is, are the renovations meeting the tenants' needs?
We certainly haven't had any complaints from the one tenant who's in the new rooms. I think she's enjoying it. We have a tub on the premises, which is a communal tub. Do you know, it's so much nicer to have a shower in your own shower room.
So the second question is, how do you plan to manage the project standards, meaning the project management, sprinkler systems, current building code?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, I thought that. How do you plan to manage the project standards, project management, sprinkler systems, and current building codes? I'm going to bring it to you so you can read it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That's complicated. The manager of the project standards, actually my name is down on that application as the project administrator. So we have to depend on people coming in, the building inspector and everybody else, coming in and making sure that everything's up to date and done properly. Sprinkler system we don't have. That's next year's ask. Second ask. And the current building code would be up to the building inspector to make sure that everything's correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the public? One more time, any questions from the public? You're off the hot seat. Thank you very much. All right, so our next presenter again is the Valemount Senior Citizens Housing Society. And the project they're applying for is the Valemount Cares Phase 1.
Can you just show us? This is forward, this is back. Okay.
Hello, my name is Laurel McCurdy, and I'm here with Rashmi for this presentation. When I turned 71 last year, I moved back to Valemount to be closer to family. I've lived in other places, but this has always been home. My mother, Doris, who is now 92, drove the first school bus, farmed, raised her family and many other children who were not her own until she was 75. Although we tried, we couldn't care for her here, and she's been in McBride Extended Care since 2014. Mom still asks to come home. It breaks my heart to see the people having to leave the only community they've known when they need care. They've worked hard here in the community, teaching in forestry, farming, raising their families, to make Valemount the vibrant community that it is. Even in McBride, it's hard for families to visit. Other centers are further away. They have care, but they miss their family and friends. There are at least 15 people currently living away. Most of them need some meals, regular social interaction, personal care, and an accessible bathroom.
Everyone will age, unless they are the Gordon Carson, who are immortal. We can either continue to watch our seniors leave Valemount or do something about it, which is why a group of 12 cool people got together and decided to take advantage of the money available to create housing and also provide services in the same building. We've piggybacked on projects before. That's how we got this community theater in 2007. The society just got approved to design and cost the housing units. With community initiatives money, we want to design the common areas and plan services and be ready to apply for construction money in the fall. We are committed to working with other organizations and the community at large. We've talked to staff at the Robson Valley Community Services as well as the Health Center to seek partnerships. A few weeks ago, we hosted a Valentine's tea. Around 90 people came to hear about the project and tell us what they'd like to see built. In just a few weeks, we had over $4,000 in donations, started in part by the family of Blanche Powell, who lived at Golden Years Lodge and had to move away for care. Recently, Emily Tinsley celebrated her 90th birthday and Alice Olson her 96th. If they need support, will they be able to stay? You get to decide what's a priority for Valemount. And please support both applications from the society because they meet different needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are no questions from the committee, so I'll open it to the floor. Any questions from the public?
I'm just wondering how you're planning to staff this facility, and do you have a number of staff members that you would be able to tell us the number?
So to start off, we are looking at a supportive living facility that is housing along with services. We want to use the partnerships and the services that already exist, partly the Better at Home through RVCS and the community care workers through the health center. It's possible to have agreements, for example, with the health center. They call it cluster care agreements, where a staff is on site instead of them going to individually, each person having to do it. So at this point, we're not looking at staff for Better at Home. Those people will come in like they did, except the society would be coordinating them. What is different is the facility will be offering meals and activities, and that's why I asked the question to the bus society about the bus, because that's another aspect of transporting that we need to address as well. So those are the things which are not being done that we will take on. Like meals are something that's not happening, and so we'll look at staffing for that and even expand the Meals on Wheels, so that program which is only being done 3 days a week, and do that every day, hopefully.
Any further questions?
It flashed by real quick on the slide, and I didn't get a chance to see. Where would this facility be located?
I don't think it's on the slide. This facility will be located just south of the school, just there, and partly because it's village-owned land, and they've allocated a portion of that for seniors housing. And also it was identified by an engineering company last year when they studied 3 different village properties that would be most suitable for an affordable housing development. So the seniors facility is going to be only one of the pieces of other affordable housing on that site. And we'll see it, which is great because the idea is not to have seniors by themselves, also have other ages on the same property.
I have 2 questions. Will you, I didn't see it on this, not that I didn't see it. It slid by too fast.
Oh yeah, I was like, there she, I know your voice.
Would there be like seniors, adult daycare in that facility that we could bring people in?
I think it's
for that time?
I think it's something, because at this point in the beginning stage, it's about feasibility, it's supportive living, meals, and all those things. This part of the money is going to look at planning for services. To have adult daycare, what kind of certification we need or not. Those are some of the things we'll explore through this. But also, this is going to allow us to, it's not just planning, because we're doing some of the work for the common areas in this project, like engineering drawings. So it's really being ready, doing some of the pre-development work on the common areas, which won't be covered through many of the housing grants. And that's why we're coming to community initiatives for it.
And is that eventually, do you hope eventually to get this into extended care?
That is the plan, yes.
Another question?
Hi, I wasn't sure if that just answered my question, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Sure.
Is this going to include some kind of hospice facilities for?
So I want to say, when we did our Valentine's Day, we had these flip charts and asked all the public to say what they wanted to see in the facility, and definitely respite care, palliative care was on that list. It's about identifying, going through the steps and seeing how we get there. So we want to get there, but I think it's like, this is feasible. Housing with supportive living is feasible first step. And the difference between supportive living and assisted living is, there's not much of a difference, but you have to be accredited by the Ministry of Health to call yourself assisted living. So, if that's going to be a process, let's be happy with the terminology supportive living and still offer all of that. And the next is the care part, which you're asking about. What level of care? I think that is part of it, but it's going to be another phase. Yes.
Yeah, because the one thing that concerns me about the area here is that some of the older generations are needing maybe cancer treatments and this, that, and the other. And if it's possible for them to stay here to get that treatment, rather than having to go away to get the treatments, that they could have it here, and that could be part of what you're trying to do too, or is that not even?
So I don't know, honestly, with Northern Health, they've always said no, our community is not big enough and doesn't have the numbers for a hospital in Valemount or more medical care in Valemount. And we have excellent health staff, like they've said include some clinic space in the new building, so we will come here and visit seniors and they don't have to come to us. I think, I'm not sure about treatments, because this is like supportive services outside of medical care.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any further questions? Seeing no hands raised, thank you very much. Oh, wait, we have one.
Is it possible to do assisted living, like as you're suggesting, in current facilities? And does this overlap with other facilities currently in the works?
So it's not easy to do. Initially, when the society identified the need for assisted living, they wondered about converting Golden Years Lodge to that. They are not. It was built at a time when accessibility was not a priority or part of the universal design. So those rooms cannot be renovated to be fully wheelchair accessible. They can be improved, but not to that extent. with the new building, we are hoping to have everything on one level, not even look at more than one level. And that way, there'll be no steps going into the building. It's going to be barrier-free and very accessible, which is not one of the features in either of the two new housing facilities as well as Golden Years Lodge. The other thing is the two new housing projects don't have supportive living. I mean, the transitional housing may have, but again, I think they're both apartment style, which is not going to be great for seniors. So.
Any further questions? Thank you very much. All right, so our next applicant is Valemount Area Recreation Development Association, Swift Creek Trails Project.
Give Amy a break. She was voluntold this morning she's doing this. So we haven't practiced. In a very short time frame, we've done something very special here in Valemount. Trails do so much for so many, and we hope that our community continues to see value in trail development. Last summer alone, we recorded over 30,000 trips down just 4 of our more popular trails alone. The relationship with the Community Initiatives Program is extremely special to us. These trails truly are for the community, and the benefits are extremely far-reaching. With help from so many of you, we've developed the Valemount Bike Park into a world-class trails facility, and we've put our little town on the map. We fought long and hard to find a way to bring our highway traffic into our community, and this relatively small trail network has proven that if you build it, they'll come. By expanding the variety of our offerings, we can attract more users, but also increase the duration of our stays by visitors. But this is not just about the visitors. The recent trail developments have created outdoor opportunities for locals, young and old. Friends are gathering in numbers, people have more opportunities to get outside into nature, and our youth has something healthy and challenging to do outside, not to mention something to be very proud of. Trails have added a local employment while boosting and adding a variety to our local economy. Our current trail offerings are more downhill oriented, and our pedal cross-country styles are limited. The project will be quite specific to the more traditional style mountain bike and trail design. It will provide us a much greater option for all skill levels and trail use needs. We intend to add 18 kilometers of all mountain style trail network, the center point being a green rated inner circle loop, which will broaden the opportunities and access for all levels of riders and abilities. This will also expand our local opportunities for hiking, walking, running, and possibly fat biking and cross-country skiing in the wintertime. I can't emphasize it enough, the close proximity to this area of town core is what makes it special. This is a very rare opportunity among trail networks to be so close to our community, and it's something we should all cherish and protect. This is more than about traditional trail, or this style is more about traditional trails. The Swift Mountain Trails design is quite specific to the traditional style of mountain biking. Our members have stepped up. This project's budget is near $304,000 for the 18 kilometers of trails. Between Varda, Tourism Valemount, and the CN Railroaders program, we're bringing $52,500 to the table. $32,000 of that alone is coming from our membership. We're asking the community to consider roughly $116,000 towards this program. The remainder of the funding is intended to come from the Community Development Program through CBT and several other programs. Where these applications are very positive, they're reliant on this request to be successful. 18 kilometers is a big undertaking. With this method, we can put out 2 larger projects, which is a much better payout or a much better project for the chosen contractor, basically bulk building. And this helps us keep our construction down as the work is long-term and more desirable for qualified builders. Valemount has so much going for it, and our outdoor environment is certainly an asset to both our residents and our visitors. There's many of us that believe that the power of trails, as we've seen that we can do physically, emotionally, spiritually, and economically. I believe the trails will be a big part of Valemount's future success, and they'll not only drive people to want to live and work here, but also visit time and time again. On behalf of the Valemount Mountain Bike Committee, the Varda Board of Directors, and over 200 members, I'd like to offer our sincere thank you for this opportunity, and please help us continue to build a healthy and exciting future for Valemount. That wasn't red.
Thank you very much. One question from the committee. With larger trail area, how will the trail maintenance be addressed?
Yeah, it's a very popular question. I think it was the same last one too. We understand maintenance. we all take very high level of pride in these trails. The last thing we would want to do is see them fall out. Having beautiful trails, well maintained, it's been the cornerstone of our trail system. In the early season, we have a very keen local membership that are eager to get out and work. And that's when the bulk of the work needs to be done. During and after the stoke of the early season trail maintenance, the bug dwindles a little bit. We've got great support from Tourism Valemount, Valemount Community Forest, our VARTA sponsors, and our mountain bike members, which come as a source of revenue. We run a 2-person trail crew throughout most of the season. We take a break in midsummer as the maintenance needs are just not that high with the dry conditions. And the network is primarily more of a traditional trail design, more like a hiking trail that you might be used to instead of the fancy downhill trails we have right now. And that involves very, very little maintenance over the long term. But with the pride we take in our trails and the understanding we have for duty of care, leave the maintenance to us. We'll take care of it, we promise.
Okay, so we have questions from the public. We have somebody standing there at the microphone, and I have another one over here.
Hi.
Hello.
You mentioned the membership. So the VAD membership also includes the bike trail membership?
No, we have a separate membership for mountain biking. So in 4 short years, we've grown over to 200 members. In 30 years of snowmobiling, we're still under 200 members.
So they pay an annual fee?
They pay an annual fee of $50, yes.
And another one was, I know fine well the accessibility from Whiskeyville or Main Street going up onto the trails has been concerns about emergency vehicles being able to get there. If you're making the trails bigger, shouldn't you make the roads bigger so that people can get in and out if there is an emergency?
Yeah, absolutely, good question. So this network is a cross-country style network. We're adding 18 kilometers of trails. It's actually bi-directional, so more closer to 36. Very low-risk style of trail, especially with this 18-kilometer being primarily green loop. The Swift Creek Forest Service Road does have a good access, is a good road. It's not from the end of Whiskeyville, actually. The main access, if you were going to drive to this area, is the Swift Creek Forest Service Road. There are also plans in place right now to upgrade that road system this summer. This is a pedal-friendly network, and this is encouraging people to get outside. So we do encourage people to pedal from the community. It's a 5-10 minute pedal to get up there. But for emergency vehicles, the Swift Mountain Forest Service Road, which is in very good condition, would be the access.
So there's no plans to upgrade the one going up that everybody's using now and parking on both sides so emergency vehicles cannot get through?
That's not correct. That was one event, and this is actually building over on the north side of Swift Creek, not the current development here. So we had one event that had an emergency vehicle have an issue to get through. That was proven and taken care of over the next 3 years, so that's a non-issue.
Another question?
Hey, Curtis. This is a big dollar ask and a big project. What kind of, I know that there's lots of trails up there and stuff. What kind of assurances can you have, or can you speak to how you're going to get this done?
Yeah, man, we're ready. We're excited. We're ready. We've done a lot of work on this project. We spent a year doing a trails master plan. Thank you for supporting that plan. We've had professionals out in the field. We've done consultation on every single avenue that we can think of. We have support from First Nations, Community Forest, Village, Regional District, Rec Sites and Trails. We're ready to get this done. We have a very high professional product. We have 4 to 5 years of very high quality and professional development in the making, a lot of experience underneath our belts. We're bringing a lot of our own investment to the table with a strong membership. The second this is approved, we're ready to go and we can get this project done by the end of September.
Any further questions?
What do you think, I guess it's an almost impossible question, what is the chance that most of the trail work for this project will be done locally?
Yeah, it's a very tough question to answer. Our local builder, we have one local company who's really qualified to build these style of trails that I know of right now. An amazing builder, and he's participated in at least half of our development so far. To make things transparent and fair for everybody, we have to put this out to a bid process. It also keeps our prices down. Just because you live here doesn't mean the dollars can be jacked up, and I'm not saying that happens, but the competitive bid process helps us be able to build 18 kilometers of trails for a very affordable price. So we'll go out to a transparent process. We have had very, very good trails with our local crew, so I can't throw anything under there, but here's hoping, hey? Yeah.
More questions? One more time, any more questions? Thank you very much.
Over here.
Oh, sorry.
So do you guys have to, I know the Swift Creek Trail, if you go up there, it's deactivated. Is forestry and everybody working with you to get that road accessible?
Which one's deactivated, Di?
If you go up, you're talking where you go across the train tracks, right? And then you head,
From Irvins, though, right? From the highway, you have to cross Irvins to that? Yep.
you go through there and they got it ditched pretty good right now.
It's a CN crossing. It's a legitimate login road right now. It's an active FSR, so it should not be ditched. They're hauling out of it daily with vehicles going up and down.
Okay, I haven't been out there since the fall, but they were ditched before, so I just wanted to...
No ditching up there. The Swift Creek FSR is in very good shape. We have a partnership with Yora, who's going to be investing money into that trail or road system as well this summer. It's a high value area, high value to community forest, high value to us, and high value to Yora, with one of our most popular and beautiful trails being right at the top of that road as well. So we're secure with what we think the road use will be. Although we are encouraging people to use our facilities and pedal up from town, right? Stay in town, come down to the businesses, and then go for a bike ride, or vice versa.
Questions? Any more?
I can talk bikes all day, bring them on.
Oh, that's the end of that. All right, thank you.
So I think you're upwing and the brewery's open, so be fast, okay?
Okay, so our next applicant, which is the second last applicant, is the Valemount Community Sports Day Association, and this is the concession Phase 2.
Oh, it should just be on slideshow again.
Okay.
Okay, can everyone hear me? I'm going to make this quick and short. I'm Jennifer Scheller again. This is Andrew. He's part of the new board of the Valemount Days. Last year, Valemount Days...
give it up for Valemount Days! Hey, did you guys know it was in trouble and it's back on? So Valemount Days is going to be happening this year? Second week in June.
So last year, Valemount Days was fortunate enough to get a grant from CBT to upgrade the concession of at the Valemount Sports Grounds. The upgrades were a new stove, new deep fryer, ventilation, fire suppression, and electrical upgrade. So we are hoping to get another grant this year to finish the upgrades of the concession. We want a new fridge, a new freezer, and a stainless steel sink prep table. The existing appliances are old, and we would like the new appliances to be able to properly store the food and prepare the food. And that's it.
Thank you. That was quick. So questions from the committee. Two. The first question is, the community functions that happen at this facility are focused through the spring and summer months. Could the time requirement for the project be adjusted so there would be use of the new equipment during this season?
Yes, the equipment is ready to be ordered and shipped. They're just waiting for my phone call if I get approved.
And the second question from the committee is there a long-term management plan for the facility between Valemount Community Sports Day Association and the Village of Valemount?
The Valemount Sports Day Association and the Village of Valemount have a pretty good working relationship. They've been in partnership for years, like almost 40 years. So they own the property, and the Valemount Days maintains the property, and that's how it's always been.
Okay, so I'll open it up to any questions from the floor. Any questions from the public?
I have a question. Who has been to Valemount Days? All right, who is, by a show of clapping, who will be coming to Valemount Days? By show of hands, who knows how integral Jen is stepping down as president, and she's been so committed to the process of helping Vail Mountain Days succeed. She actually just is helping us, the new board, through this year, and was committed to getting this application through and making this awkward presentation, which will be a little bit more awkward now, because it'd be awesome if we clap for all the good work that Jen has done.
I guess there's no more questions, okay. All right, thank you everyone. This is now the last presentation by the Village of Valemount, and this here is for Centennial Park washroom plans.
I'm sure everybody has a good story, a bad story, a so-so story about public toilets. When I started to do a little bit some research on this topic here, I got totally lost in the history of public toilets. Started 2,500 years ago, the Romans, they built some beautiful toilets with marble seats. My wife told me, stop it, you've only got 3 minutes. So that's why I'm here. Asking price, we're looking for $15,000. We need those to really, for the planning, phase planning, to get some drawings. The whole thing is about replacing the old existing facility at Centennial Park. Most of you know where it is. It's in that upper right corner. And the building is closed most of the time of the year. It's only open in the summertime. It does not have electricity. Of course, it has water and sewer. Once I started to do a little bit of research about washrooms, of course, the goals are to create new, comfortable environments in the washrooms, guarantee easy access, improve efficiency. And here, I just want to show you what's now out there. There are these kind of exceptional, great self-cleaning, self-disinfecting washrooms. This is a company, it's a Canadian company. They built this kind of washrooms in Quebec, and they can be shipped anywhere. This is just an example, but it shows that there's computerized service. You can set it by the hour. It can also be set before somebody accesses the washroom, that it does the whole cleaning cycle. And this would be one of the questions that we would be looking at during the planning phase. Is it worthwhile to invest in something like this here, or would it be more worthwhile to invest in a traditional type of washrooms where you probably need somebody to clean the washrooms every 6 or 8 hours in the summertime? The great thing is these are totally clean. As I said before, once you click or push the button to open the room, it starts a whole cleaning cycle of the bowl, cleaning cycle all the way down to the floors. And again, I'm saying this is just an example. It's not that we're looking for this here, but it just kind of shows you what the future of washrooms could be. I'll go to the next one. The benefits, of course, this kind of type of project could mean improved sanitation in a downtown area, safe and convenient public amenity for us. Think parents using Centennial Park. This kind of project will also help a little bit to revitalize the downtown area, just like the beautification project did in the past. And in the end, it would really reflect well on Valemount. Steps, we issue an RFP to hire an engineer and architect. We hope that the final drawings would be ready by the end of the summer, or probably beginning end July. Construction could be 2020, most likely 2021. We have some funds already available for the construction. Unfortunately, this funding agency allows us to use the funds for construction, but not for planning. That's why we're looking for the planning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Silvio, you get 3 questions from the committee. So the first question is there going to be any community consultation in the planning phase?
I must admit, I had not thought about this question, and it's a very good question. And in fact, I think it could be a good project to establish, for instance, a working committee or a committee of council. That committee could include representatives of local organizations, of the chamber, as an example, and that committee would help to establish, first of all, maybe to gather some of the information, then would help to establish the decision criteria. How are we going to really pick and choose a specific or the best option? We would probably hire the architect engineers to give us some alternatives, and then with that committee again, we would evaluate the different options and then present those to council. So I must admit, I had not thought about it, but this could be really a great way of trying to implement some of the public processes, different things that are happening out there, and this could be an excellent project for that.
Okay, so second question from the committee. Is it possible to research communities that have functional facility plans that the village could source?
Here, Wayne, our CEO, had already done a little bit some preliminary work. He contacted Jasper. Jasper, many of you probably have used the new washrooms. They're really nice in the traditional style, but really nice new washrooms. The issue that you have sometimes by getting plans from other communities, sometimes they are really bound by intellectual property rights, so you may not always be able to get those. And in fact, in this example, also Wayne only received 1 or 2 pages as an example, but not the complete drawings of that. So I think sometimes you have to consider that those drawings are specific for a community, and sometimes they have paid also for the intellectual property rights. When I talk to engineers and architects, they tell me they also have to pay mortgages.
Last question. Was Valemount Community Forest approached for funding?
I'm very honest, no. I haven't thought about that, no.
Okay, any questions from the public?
Why doesn't the village just fund this out of their regular monies?
I have an answer for you. The village collects on a yearly basis a little bit more than somewhere between $700,000 and $800,000 from property taxes. The village has a budget a little bit less than $2 million per year. The $1.2 million village staff every year gets that money through grants. So this is part of most of our work of staff, trying to find grants for everything to make sure that the property taxes of course, are here to cover the most important priority costs. And this year, somebody may see it not as a total village duty, and therefore, I think it's part of staff work to try to find those funds. And in fact, as I said before, we already have almost $100,000 that we received through the RMI program, and probably we've got 80 in this fiscal year and most likely another 60 in the next fiscal year. So we have already found the funds for the construction, but unfortunately we don't have the funds for the planning, because in this case, provincial government who delivers the RMI program does not allow that money to be used for planning. They want to see construction building. I hope this answer satisfies.
See another question over here.
Silvio, I was thinking about what about year-round washroom, which is Jasper, but also because now there's the new electric car pump there, you could also perhaps ask BC Hydro for a little help in funding, but it could go, you could have it, a nice facility year-round there.
Yes, I think right now we are looking at a year-round facility. As you know, that location has water and sewer. It does not have electricity or power right now. That would be brought there. And these kind of type of solutions are always thought as year-round. And again, if we're going to set up that advisory committee, I'm sure we would be looking at all these kind of different options and then see what makes more sense, how can it be maintained and also financed.
What other public washrooms exist downtown as it is?
Downtown, as far as I know, we don't have any other ones. The other ones are all private or from businesses, provided by businesses. The only other type of public washrooms that we have in Valemount, of course, are part of the Visitor Information Center. And that is an excellent example of the traditional 2, 3, 4 stalls for females and males. And of course, in the summer, we've got extremely high usage. The only thing that works at the Visitor Center, and that could be a little bit different for this kind of type of facility, is that we have maintenance staff, people who clean the washrooms twice a day in the summertime, in the evenings and in the mornings. And here, this also could be a question, how do you maintain then the washrooms, especially year-round, and especially in the summertime when you've got high traffic. But that's something that we would be looking in.
So this sort of question really runs on from Andrew's question here. These public toilets, these fancy self-cleaning ones, they exist all over Europe now, okay? Yeah. But you can only get one person at a time into those toilets. So in the summertime when it gets really busy, you could have rather large queues trying to use a single access toilet. So wouldn't it be better to build a multiple facility that can accommodate more people?
And again, yes, I agree with you. In fact, that was just an example. And that example kind of popped up when we were looking at what are the public toilets nowadays, right? And of course, we've seen this kind of excellent, Krista found some excellent examples where tourists who go to Australia, New Zealand, first thing they do, they put those kind of excellent experiences on YouTube and show you how these washrooms work, and they even have got music in there, and when you enter that, it tells you now you've got 10 minutes to stay in here in this kind of facility and so on and so on. So they're pretty amazing, but I get the point, especially if you've got high traffic in the summertime. Maybe we could also combine them, have the traditional ones using just in the summertime, and then have this kind of type of facility year round, and also at night time if somebody uses the electrical vehicle charging station. That also could be an option, yeah.
Any further questions?
And of course, that could be a good excuse, as somebody mentioned, to hit on BC Hydro and see if they also have got some funds, yeah.
I just want to kind of clarify, because I'm kind of confused if you guys are going towards the new future type, or because it is a park and it tends to be used by families and children as a mall, you're going to need that space for change tables, that kind of stuff. So and handicap, like what, I guess what I'm asking is where are you actually kind of going?
That is right now just an example, and thank you for this question. That's why we need the planning money, because I hope through this kind of planning phase, and especially thank you also to the advisory group that came up with the question, are we going to have it done in a public way of process? I think that's where we then try to first find all these kind of questions, and then try to find some answers to all these kind of questions. And then at the end, when we have got the different options, we can come back to the advisory committee, to council, and then to the public, and then make that final decision and pick the best option. I'm totally aware that we've got, that was just an example to show something, because it's kind of fancy, the toilets of the future.
Any further questions? I'll ask one more time. Any further questions? Thank you, Sylvia. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, just before you run out the door, just a quick reminder, don't forget to fill out your forms completely. You can drop them off at the entranceway into this auditorium. Thank you so much to everybody, to the presenters, and especially to the public for coming out. This was a really great engagement process, and really appreciate you coming. Thank you.